Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So now that stage 1 of MSI is officially behind us, we can now get into stage 2 or the Rumble stage or whatever the heck it's being called. We've gotten to see some interesting matchups, but overall, stage 1 was pretty one-sided, pretty lopsided for the 3 top teams, for the 3 top regions. We finally get to see if any of the teams that were clearly below them can make up any ground or can take any games off the top teams, and we finally get to see where those top 3 teams are situated, at least generally, at least in a couple of best of ones. We're going to be going over all that today and whether this is a good news, bad news, whatever, for the West, for NA, for EU, all that stuff. But first, a word from today's sponsor, which is Prize Picks. This is daily fantasy made easy. You simply pick your favorite stars, choose their over-under, and watch your players win. They offer a whole host of different games, including esports, including League of Legends esports. They do LEC, LCS, EU Masters, and of course, they are doing MSI. And obviously, hey, we're all watching MSI right now. It's a ton of fun. We're keeping track of all of our favorite teams, players, all that stuff. And if you want a chance to do that and win some prizes as well while, picking different props and stuff for your favorite players, then Prize Picks is a perfect place to do that. You can make some of your own picks today. First link in the description below. Prize Picks is actually going to match your first deposit up to $100 for new users, which is an awesome deal. Thank you so much for Prize Picks for supporting me, my channel, and my content, and hopefully you guys check them out and support them as well. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, there has been all different kinds of talk recently about the relative strength of all the teams. It's obviously there seems to be the 3 top teams right now, T1, RNG, and G2, and there's kind of opinions all over the place. I think it's hard to not say that T1 looks to be the best team right now. Obviously, they went undefeated in Korea. They've come here, they've gone undefeated. They didn't really show too much of weakness. Yeah, Saigon Buffalo put up a fight in some games and fought back, and maybe some people were like, oh, Saigon Buffalo's better than I thought. Maybe some people would say T1's a little worse than they thought, but T1 took care of business. They won all their games. They won handily. Keria looked awesome. Gumayusi looked awesome. Faker is Faker. Things are going pretty well for T1 overall. It's not like they showed a clear weakness or they showed really any signs of too much concern. RNG, same thing with them. Obviously, people have a little bit more doubts about them, but still, they looked really, really strong. They won all their games. They went, 9-0 or whatever. And then G2, they were playing against Osh and NA, and they looked good. I think out of this whole little stage 1, I think G2 probably raised their stock the most because we saw a very, very good Caps showing up to this tournament so far. And that's always been a question mark for G2 of like, hey, are you going to get like 2019 Caps? Are you going to get 2018 Caps? Or are you going to get 2021 Caps showing up? And not that 2021 Caps was like horrible, but obviously 2018 Caps is going to give you a much better chance of doing something at this tournament than last year Caps is going to or something like that. And I don't know if he looks like exactly prime Caps. I'm not saying he looks like the best he's ever looked in his career or nothing like that, but I'm saying Caps has looked very, very good, and people have overall been pretty impressed with G2. Now, obviously, you can question the strength of their opponents in Evil Geniuses and Order, but it hasn't been anything bad for G2. But then you start to have, and then, who do you think the 3 best, or who do you think's the best between those 3? Some people think G2 is clearly better than RNG. Some people think RNG is clearly better than G2. Some people think those 2 teams are pretty close. Some people think all 3 of the top 3 teams are pretty close. But, who knows for sure? But it does seem like there's a gap there between 4, 5, and 6. And that's where things start to get really, really spicy. And that's where I kind of wanted to go over this Reddit thread here, or not even the Reddit thread, but just this Reddit post of the Reddit MSI 2022 Rumble Stage power rankings, and I have that here where they say, with the group draw now concluded, the time has come to take an official Reddit ranking of the 6 teams in the Rumble stage. The poll is going to be open from the 19th of May, or until the 19th of May, with the Rumble stage starting on Friday, May 20th. So, like last week, the game started on like Tuesday and went the whole week or whatever. So this week, it seems like the games aren't until later on in the week. So we have kind of a break where we get to talk about all this stuff for a while. And the interesting thing about stage 2 is that we're starting fresh. Like, yes, Evil Geniuses went 0-4 against G2, but that doesn't matter. G2 doesn't have like any advantage going into Rumble Stage 2 than anyone else. So every team's on even footing, and if Evil Geniuses now finds a way to either adjust to the meta or adjust their drafts, or they pull out some crazy picks, or they just show up and do better next week after like a good week of practice or a good week of scrims, or they just figure some things out and they like 2-0 G2, then hey, this stage is going to matter way, way more than stage one. Stage one's really just about getting your feet wet, and it's really about just the kind of the lower tier teams kind of sorting themselves out, which obviously didn't even get to happen in the EG-G2 group because it was just order was there, they're 0-8, they're out, they're gone, whatever. But throughout this whole kind of group stage, not a ton of upsets and stuff. But I did think it was interesting to see what Reddit was going to be saying about the overall strength of the teams, because there have been people saying, hey, North America is a major region for a reason. Yes, they are clearly the weakest major region, at least kind of, especially in this tournament, it does look like. Even though this past Worlds, they did just as good as Europe, if not better. But hey, that was just kind of an outlier. Now we're back to Europe being clearly above NA, and maybe Europe even having a chance of winning this whole thing, which would be really, really crazy. But they are a major region for a reason. They're clearly a major region. The other regions and teams are minor regions and teams. NA has historically done very, very well against the PCS, against the VCS. They're going to do so once again. And then there's other people saying, hey, PSG Talon was pretty good last year. They ended up finishing above Cloud9, and now Saigon Buffalo even looks better than PSG Talon, and there might be better than NA. There's some people who are really picking Saigon Buffalo to get out of this whole thing over Evil Geniuses, and some of it I understand because we don't even know for sure if Evil Geniuses is North America's best team. Again, they finished 9-9 in the regular season and then lost in the first round of the playoffs. Yes, they went on a very, very nice run after that, but for 90 to 95% of the season, Evil Geniuses was not our best team. And if that Baron play goes differently against Team Liquid, like maybe Evil Geniuses isn't even here right now. So you can question if EG is even our best team. You can question how good North America even is. You can also question how good EG has even been at this tournament. This is a different patch. This is obviously an international tournament. So there's just a lot of different things going on here. And Saigon Buffalo has looked good. PSG Talon, they I think dropped a game to Red Canids. So people kind of I think see them as the weakest team. But again, they were able to knock out NA at MSI last year. They went to Worlds. I think they went like 0-6 at Worlds or something like that. So it's not like they've been too crazy. And I think overall PSG Talent is weaker this year than they were last year. But here's what Reddit had to say about the whole thing. Reddit has T1 pretty clearly in first. Not unanimously, but pretty damn close to unanimously. Everyone still thinks T1 is the best team, which again, that doesn't mean RNG or G2 can't beat them, but it just means we haven't really seen anything to show otherwise. T1 really came into the tournament as the clear favorites, and since then, all they did was kind of beat up on some teams that were way, way, way weaker than them. They need to play against RNG. They need to play against G2 to actually see how these things are going to go down. But then, even in the middle, RNG still hanging on to a lead over G2, and it's funny because you can see here from the results, 54%, over half of the voters at least claim that they are from Europe. And the fact that G2 is still below them, I think is kind of interesting because G2 is a very popular team. G2 is a team that, you would think maybe gets overrated than anything, especially after going 8-0 in the first group stage and beating on NA 4 times and yada, 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 probably playing overall in a harder group than Royal Never Give Up, who got to play against PSG Talon, who everyone thinks is the weakest team out of this little bunch here. So it's kind of interesting that, yes, people still do have RNG over G2, but it's very, very close. And last year, in 2021, the LPL was significantly stronger in Europe. Europe didn't really show up at the Worlds, at least. Europe had a good showing at MSI, but they didn't have that great of a showing at Worlds, and it was looking like maybe the gap has kind of started close between these two teams again. But to see we're back here at MSI and people think that the top LPL team and the top LEC team are very, very close, not close enough to put G2 over the top, but they're right there together, I think is very interesting. Obviously, there's a nice little gap between T1 and those two teams. But then in the bottom three clump, look at how close these teams are. A 4.5 for Evil Geniuses, a 5.0 for Saigon Buffalo, and a 5.3 for PSG Talon. But it does seem like, at least Reddit, this has 5,000 responses, so I guess it's not even that many, but from 5,200 responses, Reddit, which is only like a third of the voters are even North American, still is putting Evil Geniuses over Saigon Buffalo and over PSG Talon. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see. I really think that overall stage one was probably one of the worst starts we've ever had to an international event in League of Legends history. But I think stage two is going to be very, very fun because there's going to be a tight, interesting, entertaining race for the top three. And it's actually going to matter a lot. Getting first and potentially getting to play against one of these bottom three teams and getting that easier road to the finals is going to be huge. And the battle for second and third, where you're just going to have to play each other, isn't going to matter as much. But those three teams are all going to be hopefully tight, close, and entertaining games. And then the bottom three teams also tight, close, entertaining games. And two of the losers totally going home. Only one team being able to advance and make it out. Is going to be very fun. And I'm actually really, really excited. Even though MSI has been super scuffed, not very entertaining, not very fun to watch so far, at least in my opinion, especially considering the crazy times you have to wake up to even watch it in North America. I'm actually really, really excited. Even though MSI has been super scuffed, not very entertaining, not very fun to watch so far, at least in my opinion, especially considering the crazy times you have to wake up to even watch it in North America. Round 2 is still going to be super, super fun. And I don't know. I do think Evil Geniuses is still my pick to get out in the top 4. I think NA should be able to do this. But I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely concerned. And I definitely think if they don't make it out, it's a huge disappointment. When you look at the money being spent, the infrastructure, we're a major region, all the different things should be in North America's favor. And if we lose to Saigon Buffalo, who's not even the top VCS team, or PSG Talon, that's not going to be good, but it's going to be really fun to watch, and that's what obviously we all love to see as fans of competitive League of Legends. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think is going to be the top 4 to make it out? Who's going to be the best team? Let me know your rankings. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.